My name is Richard Lawson. I'm 68 years old. And I never thought I'd live to see the day when my own daughter-in-law would grab my arm, scream in my face, and treat me like an intruder in my son's home. But the moment her fingers dug into my skin and her voice exploded in my ear, something inside me shifted, not out of fear, but out of a deep, heartbreaking realization that if I didn't let the police handle things right then, this family would fall apart beyond repair. And that's exactly how a single afternoon turned into the moment that changed everything between us. I've always been a quiet man, the kind who minds his own business, fixes what's broken, and stays loyal to the people he loves. I raised my son Ethan after my wife passed, working double shifts at the auto shop, packing lunches, teaching him how to ride a bike, helping him with homework when I was too exhausted to stay awake, and always reminding him that respect, for others and for himself, mattered more than anything else. When he met his wife, Amanda, I was happy for him. She seemed polite at first, kind even, the type who smiled too much and talked too sweetly, but I brushed away the discomfort because Ethan loved her and that was enough for me. But masks don't stay on forever, and it didn't take long for me to see the cracks forming. Amanda didn't like me having a key to Ethan's home, even though Ethan was the one who insisted I keep it. She didn't like me visiting without an appointment, didn't like me giving Ethan advice, didn't like me telling stories from my life. She controlled every conversation, hovered over every moment, and made it painfully clear that she wanted to erase any influence I had in my son's life. But I stayed silent, kept my distance, and tried not to burden Ethan, who worked long hours and didn't see the tension building. Everything finally exploded on a Saturday afternoon, the day Ethan had asked me to come over to help fix a loose cabinet in the kitchen. He wasn't home yet, stuck in traffic, but he told me to go inside and start without him. So I unlocked the door, set my toolbox down, and started working. That's when Amanda walked in. She froze in the doorway, her face darkening like a storm cloud. "What are you doing in my house?" she hissed. I wiped my hands and calmly said, "Ethan asked me to fix the cabinet while he's on his way." Her voice rose instantly. "I don't care what he said. You don't enter this house without me here." I blinked. "Amanda, I've had a key for years. Not anymore," she screamed, marching toward me with wild eyes. "I want IT back." Before I could even respond, she lunged forward and grabbed my arm, hard, her nails digging into my skin, twisting, pulling, shaking me like I was some kind of criminal she was restraining. "Get out! Get out right now!" she shrieked, inches from my face, spit flying, her grip tightening so much pain shot up my arm. "Amanda, let go," I said firmly, trying not to escalate. "Let go?" she shouted. "No! You don't belong here. You don't get to control my house." But here's the part she didn't know. Ethan had arrived minutes earlier. He stood frozen behind her, watching the whole thing, watching his wife screaming at his father, manhandling me like I was furniture she was rearranging. "Amanda, stop!" Ethan yelled. She jumped, spinning around, trying to come up with an excuse, but Ethan pushed past her and rushed to my side. "Dad, are you okay?" he asked, seeing the red marks on my arm. That's when Amanda panicked. "Ethan, he scared me." I thought he broke in. He shouldn't have come without asking. Ethan stared at her in disbelief. "Amanda, I told him to come. I asked him to be here. You knew that." But Amanda doubled down, as manipulators always do. "He's lying. He's trying to come between us. He always interferes. He wants you to choose him over me." She was spiraling, shouting nonsense, her voice shaking, her eyes overflowing with anger and fear and something darker, desperation. Ethan tried to calm her, but she shoved him away and pointed at me like I was the villain in her story. "You need to tell him to leave forever. Your father is toxic." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Amanda, you just assaulted him." "Assaulted?" she shrieked. I was defending myself. He's old and manipulative, and that's when I made the decision, quietly, carefully, painfully. I walked to the corner of the kitchen, picked up my phone, and dialed 911. Amanda's face drained of color. "You're calling the police?" she whispered. "Yes," I said calmly. "You put your hands on me." She started shaking. No, wait, please, Richard, I didn't mean, it was just a misunderstanding, but it wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a pattern finally crossing a line. The operator answered. 911, what's your emergency? I need to report an assault, I said, voice steady. Amanda collapsed into a chair, her hands trembling. Ethan didn't stop me. He didn't argue. He didn't defend her. He just stood there, silent, staring at the bruises already forming on my arm. The police arrived within minutes. 2 officers stepped into the living room, asked questions, listened to both sides. Amanda tried her best to fake tears, twisting her story. Claiming I invaded, claiming she felt threatened, claiming I was hostile, but everything she said contradicted Ethan's statement, and the officers noticed. One officer asked Amanda, "Ma'am, did you grab his arm?" She stuttered, looked at Ethan, then at me, then whispered, "I just wanted him to leave." That was all they needed. They documented the marks on my arm, took photographs, wrote a full incident report, and issued Amanda an official warning while recommending I file a restraining order if anything happened again. She broke down completely when the police asked her to step outside while they finished the paperwork. "Please," she begged Ethan, "don't let him ruin our marriage." But Ethan didn't comfort her. For the first time, he saw her clearly. After the officers left, Ethan sat next to me quietly, running his hand through his hair. "Dad, I'm so sorry," he said, voice cracks deep with guilt. I didn't know she would. I never thought. I placed a hand on his shoulder. "Son, this wasn't your fault. She needs help, and you need to decide what kind of life you want." The next week was chaos. Amanda's family called me, blaming me. Her mother accused me of setting her up. Her brother threatened to teach me a lesson. But I forwarded everything to the police. I wasn't engaging with drama anymore. Meanwhile, Ethan moved out temporarily, staying with a friend until things cooled down. And during that time, he finally saw the messages she was hiding, the manipulation, the controlling behavior, the lies she told him about me for years, shaping his perspective against me. "Dad," he told me one night, "I didn't realize how much she twisted everything. How she slowly cut you out of my life." I nodded, not out of victory, but sadness. "That's what people like her do, son. They isolate you." Over the next month, Ethan attended counseling, spoke with lawyers, and eventually made the difficult decision to separate. Amanda tried to reconcile, cried, apologized, sent long emotional messages, but he didn't bend. "You crossed a line," he told her. "You put your hands on my father." And that was the truth, pure and simple. Today, my arm healed long ago, but the lesson stayed with me. Ethan visits every Sunday now. We cook, talk, rebuild, and sometimes he still asks, "Dad, did I do the right thing?" And every time I say the same words, respect matters, love matters, but safety comes first. As for Amanda, she learned that when anger turns into violence, and manipulation turns into control, the police don't care about excuses, they care about truth. And that day, for the first time in years, the truth finally stood with me.